All right, everyone, settle in. All right, everyone, settle in. We're diving back into Emily Nagoski's Come As You Are. Today, we're looking at what I like to call the software update for how we understand desire.
I love that because honestly, the old software, the way we've been taught to view female sexuality, is so full of bugs and crashes. It's just outdated.
And it's making everyone stressed. I mean, I was looking at my tarot cards earlier, and the tower popped up. Just total upheaval. And honestly, reading this chapter, I feel like that's exactly what Nagoski is doing. She's knocking down the old structures.
If by structures you mean the complete delusion that if you don't feel a sudden lightning bolt urge to have sex, you're medically defective, then yeah, she's definitely bringing the hammer down.
She is. And she starts this section by comparing two very different styles of desire. She uses Gottman and Perel as her benchmarks.
Right, and this is such a beautiful distinction. She says for Gottman, the science of trust guide desire is more about, well, liking. It's about savoring the moment, the togetherness.
Whereas Perel is all about the hunger, the mystery, the mating in captivity vibe.
Exactly, she uses this brilliant metaphor. Perel's style is like the secret sauce that makes a meal delicious. It's that high adrenaline, itch-scratch relief cycle. But Gottman? That's like coming home from work, having a glass of wine, and cooking dinner with your partner.
See? I'm a Perel guy. I like the drama. I like the fire already stoked approach.
But look at what she says next, Paco. She says her personal inclination is more toward Gottman. And she points out that people get so caught up in thinking one way is the true way that they miss the point.
Because the point isn't the type of desire, the point is the mechanics.
Right. She brings it back to her central thesis. It's all about the dual control model. Whether you're seeking space or closeness, the goal is the same, increasing the accelerator and decreasing the brakes.
And she proves it with this story about Johnny and Lori. They bought one of those. What were they? Subscription boxes with prefabricated sexy fantasies?
Oh man, I love those total kitsch.
They were both terrified it would be cheesy. Laurie was literally like, this is just arts and crafts supplies. And Johnny was just like, we already have a vibrator.
But they did it anyway. They changed the context. They went to a hotel, they ate pizza, they talked about work and kids, and then, halfway through a massage, the hey sexy lady mode finally kicked in for Laurie.
This is the aha moment. The software wasn't broken, the hardware was fine, they just had to shift the mental state from mommy mode to me mode.
It's all about the environment. If your brain is stuck in stress, parenting, to-do list mode, the brakes are slammed on. You can't drive the car if the emergency brake is engaged.
And this is where it gets dark. Nagoski drops this bombshell about the FDA and these drugs, flibanserin and others, designed to treat low desire.
This is the most infuriable part of the text. She shows the data, these drugs, they don't actually work. The improvement is practically non-existent compared to a placebo.
But the real kicker? The women in the trials weren't sick. They were literally saying, once we get started, everything is great. It's just getting started that's a lot of work.
That is the definition of responsive desire. They were describing a perfectly healthy, functional system.
It's so predatory. The drug companies are essentially trying to medicate a natural biological rhythm. They're trying to turn responsive into spontaneous via a pill.
And she pulls no punches with the FDA hearing. There's this doctor, Phil Hano, can I call you Phil? She asks, if they lack desire, why were they having any sex at all?
And the response from the drug maker was just pure, unadulterated audacity. He basically said, once they engage in activity, it's pleasurable.
Are you kidding me?
That's exactly what she wrote. He was explicitly telling the FDA that they were attempting to treat healthy women. Because if you can experience pleasure in a shared consensual moment, you are functioning correctly.
It's like they're trying to pathologize the very concept of taking a minute to warm up.
Exactly. The brokenness isn't in the women. The brokenness is in the culture that tells them they should be different.
It's a bug in the social software. We've been programmed to believe that if we aren't constantly hungry, we're starving.
It makes you wonder, if we stopped trying to fix the response and started focusing on fixing the context, how much more activation could we actually find? So, we just left that pretty heavy place. The FDA, the drug companies, the idea that they're trying to medicate away a natural rhythm. But Nagoski isn't done. She moves into the courtroom of the mind. She points out that even the experts, the FDA panelists, were mostly wrong.
Because they were stuck in that same myth. She says only 3 out of 24 panelists were actually researchers or educators. The rest, they were just repeating the old script, the spontaneous desire script.
Which is exactly what I said. It's a closed loop. If the people in charge of the truth don't believe in responsive desire, then anyone experiencing it is automatically labeled defensive or broken.
Look how she handles this. She's practically handing out a syllabus. She says, if your medical provider or therapist thinks desire should be spontaneous, feel free to suggest they read this book. I love that energy. Just read the manual, doc.
It's a bold move. She even says some medical schools are actually assigning it as a text now. But she warns us, you're still going to run into professionals who have an integrated responsive desire.
Because the PR budgets for drug companies are massive. They can shout much louder than a group of sex researchers.
So she just drops this one-liner. This is the part I want everyone listening to tattoo on their brains. If you have responsive desire, you are already normal.
I'm into that. No craving required.
Exactly. She's saying you don't need to change who you are, you just need to change the context. If you want more spontaneous desire just for the fun of it, don't try to rewrite your DNA. Just change the environment.
But she shifts gears here. She moves from the individual to the relationship. And this is where things get messy. She talks about low desire as a relationship issue.
And I hate that term, low desire. It sounds like a battery level.
Right, but she defines it strictly. It's only low if it's infrequent enough to frustrate the other partner. It's not a biological measurement. It's a gap in frequency.
But the gap is where the chasing dynamic lives. And man, she describes this so well. It's like a predator and prey situation, but with more guilt.
Yeah, she lays it out. Partner A, the spontaneous one, is constantly initiating. They feel rejected. They start wondering, am I broken? Am I a sex addict?
And partner B, the responsive one, is constantly being pushed. They start feeling judged, so they resist even more. They feel guilty just because they're being asked.
It's a spiral. One person is chasing, the other is running, and the whole relationship is just exhausted.
So, how do you break it? She proposes something that sounds absolutely terrifying to most couples. Take sex entirely off the table.
Wait, what? Like zero contact?
Exactly. No genital contact, no orgasm, no expectation that a kiss has to lead to something more. She suggests doing it for 2 weeks, a month, even 3 months.
That sounds like a nightmare for the person who wants sex.
But look at the logic. The goal is to remove the dread. The moment partner B feels that, ugh, if I kiss him, he's going to try to move south feeling, the brakes are slammed on. By removing the possibility of sex, you remove the pressure. You allow the intimacy to just...
It's like if you're trying to catch a butterfly, and the harder you lung, the faster it flies away. You have to just sit still, let it land.
And she says the solution isn't just behavioral, it's attitudinal. You have to stop seeing the partner as the problem. The dynamic is the problem.
She gets really intense here. She speaks directly to partner B, the one who feels chased. She tells them, you're not broken, you are whole.
That was a heavy moment. She acknowledges the exhaustion, the anxiety, the feeling of having to defend your own body.
It's so validating. She says your sexuality is still there even if you haven't used the words for it lately. It's like a friend who is just waiting for it to be safe enough to come out and play.
That's beautiful. Just because you haven't used the words doesn't mean they aren't available.
But then she turns to partner A, and she doesn't let them off the hook. She tells them, I know it feels like they are withholding. I know it feels awful.
But she tells them their role is to put down their hurts, to be loving to the person who feels like the source of the hurt. That is incredibly difficult work.
It's a test of empathy.
She ends this section with this incredibly simple, almost radical piece of advice for dealing with different levels of desire. Be kind to each other.
It sounds too simple to be true.
But then she brings in this story about a woman named Merritt. Merritt was trying to use a trick from her political organizing days. She tried to connect her behavior to her identity. Don't just run, be a runner.
So she tried on the identity of a woman who loves sex.
And the first thing that happened? She got really, really angry.
Of course she did.
She was like, why should I have to love sex? Why can't I just be a woman who doesn't want sex? She turned her no into her identity.
And that right there, that's the break. When the resistance becomes who you are, you're protecting yourself by building a well. Okay, so we left Merritt in a pretty intense place. She's basically using her anger as a sledgehammer to break down her own internal walls.
And it's such a powerful image, right? She's being angry, she's completing a cycle. She's finally letting that fight response go all the way through instead of just slamming the brakes midstream.
I mean, I get it. If you've spent decades just suppressing, just hitting the emergency brake every time you feel a spark of rage, you're essentially building a landfill inside your own nervous system.
A landfill of resentment. That's exactly what it is. And she did it through writing, which is actually really smart. She didn't take it out on her family. She didn't go on a rampage. She just channeled it.
Right? She used writing to let the anger blow through her like a strong wind, and look at the results she describes. Once the anger finally blew itself out, she was left in this profound silence.
And in that silence, she could finally ask the question, so if I don't want sex, what do I want?
And the answer wasn't some grand, romanticized craving. It was just connection. She wanted to experience pleasure without the defenses.
But man, she says it was so walled up by her self-protection that pleasure could only exist in this tiny, imprisoned little corner of her life.
It's like she had the hardware for pleasure, but the firewall was so high that nothing could get in. And then she hits us with the cliffhanger, orgasm. But that's chapter 8.
Classic Nagoski, just dropping the most important part and then walking away.
But she brings us back to the real world. She tells the story about being out with friends, a young couple, stressed working full-time, and she gives them the standard advice. She tells them, you show up, you put your bodies in the bed, you let your skin touch.
And the response was pure disgust.
That cringe of disgust from the partner. That is a red flag. And Nagoski doesn't let them off easy. She calls them out immediately. She says, the problem isn't that you don't desire sex. The problem is you don't like the sex.
And that is such a massive, necessary distinction. She's saying, stop looking for a biological malfunction and start looking at the quality of the experience.
Because the woman in the story had been feeling ignored for years.
Ugh, years. I mean, of course she doesn't want it. If the sex you're offering is just something that makes you feel invisible or unheard, why on earth would your brain ever want to accelerate that?
It ties right back to what we were saying earlier about the software update. You can't run a pleasure program on a neglect operating system.
And she even quotes Peggy Kleinplatz here, which is incredible. She says that what we call disorders and desire are often just healthy responses to dismal and disappointing sex.
That is the most empowering way to reframe it. It's not a dysfunction, it's a rational, biological protest. Your body is saying, I refuse to participate in something that doesn't serve me.
It's like if someone offered you a plate of rotten fruit every night, you'd eventually lose your appetite for dinner altogether. You're not broken, you're just smart.
And then she takes this research on extraordinary sex and basically deconstructs the entire myth of what great sex is supposed to be. She lists these 8 components: presence, connection, intimacy, communication, authenticity, transcendence, exploration, and vulnerability.
It sounds so spiritual, almost shamanic, dissolving boundaries with a trusted partner.
But then she asks us the killer question. She asks, notice anything missing from that list?
The lust, the hunger, the spontaneous urge.
Exactly. She points out that desire wasn't even a major part of the participants' descriptions. Even in the most optimal sexual experiences, the spark or the craving was a minor player.
That is such a relief to hear. So the greatness isn't in how much you want it before it starts, but in how you show up for it once it's happening.
It's all about the context. It's about the safety, the trust, the communication.
It really brings the whole book full circle, doesn't it? We start by trying to fix the drive, and we end by realizing that the drive is secondary to the environment.
So basically, we don't need more engine power. We just need to stop driving through a minefield.
Exactly. Just clear the road, build the trust, and let the pleasure find its own way home. All right, my spine is literally screaming for a quick spinal twist. Let's take 5.
If you start groaning, I'm leaving.